Remember that time you went to the grocery store and your jaw hit the floor at the price of, well, everything? Or when you tried to buy a new phone and it felt like you were taking out a second mortgage? You're not alone. Prices are climbing faster than a squirrel on a double espresso, and a lot of it has to do with these things called tariffs. Think of them as tiny taxes on internationally traded goods, making your favorite imports pricier than a night out with Elon Musk. Now, you might be thinking, John, what do tariffs have to do with me? I haven't bought a foreign car since that sweet Yugo back in the 80s. Well, buckle up, because these tariffs are about as subtle as a mariachi band at a library, and they're affecting everything from the clothes you wear to the gas you put in your car, or, if you're feeling fancy, your electric scooter. We're going to dive into the nitty-gritty of these tariffs, why they were imposed in the first place, and most importantly, how you can protect your hard-earned cash from getting caught in the crossfire. Because let's face it, the only thing worse than a bad joke is an empty wallet. Okay, so what exactly are tariffs? Imagine you're at a bake sale, and your neighbor brings their famous apple pie. You want a slice, but they tell you it's going to cost you an extra $2 because it was made with imported cinnamon. That, my friends, is a tariff. A tax on goods coming in from another country. Now, governments don't impose tariffs just for kicks, though wouldn't that be something? They do it for a few reasons, like protecting their own industries, punishing other countries for not playing fair, or in the case of the good old US of A, trying to bring back manufacturing jobs faster than you can say supply chain disruption. The idea is that by making foreign goods more expensive, people will buy more stuff made right here in America. It's a bit like trying to get your kids to eat their vegetables by hiding them in a chocolate cake. It might work for a little while, but eventually, they're going to figure out something's not quite right. Remember back in 2025 when the government decided to slap a whole bunch of new tariffs on goods from China, Europe, and Mexico? They even gave it a catchy name: Economic Independence Day. Sounds patriotic, right? Well, like most things in life, it's a tad more complicated than that. The goal was to boost American manufacturing and bring back jobs that had gone overseas. Sounds great on paper, except for one tiny detail: it's made everything more expensive. See, when you slap a tariff on imported parts, those costs get passed down the line until they hit the final product. And guess who ends up footing the bill? That's right, folks, it's you, the consumer. Section 4, the trickle-down effect, from factories to your fridge. Here's where things get really real. Those tariffs on imported steel and aluminum, they mean your new washing machine is going to cost you an arm and a leg, and maybe a kidney, depending on the brand. That tariff on electronics? Say goodbye to your dreams of a new smartphone without selling your car for spare parts. And don't even get me started on groceries. Remember that imported cinnamon in your neighbor's apple pie? Yeah, well, multiply that by every ingredient that's shipped from overseas, and you've got yourself a recipe for financial indigestion. The point is, these tariffs are like that annoying friend who never offers to split the bill. They might seem like a good idea at first, but they always end up costing you more in the long run. Section 5. Tightening the belt. Practical tips for navigating tariff-driven inflation. Okay, so now that we've sufficiently depressed you with the bad news, let's talk about what you can do to stay afloat in this sea of rising prices. Because while we can't control the government's tariff policy, believe me, I've tried, we can control how we react to it. First and foremost, it's time to channel your inner accountant and get serious about budgeting. Track your spending, identify areas where you can cut back, and start looking for deals like it's your new part-time job. Next, consider buying local whenever possible. Not only will you be supporting businesses in your community, but you'll also be avoiding those pesky tariffs on imported goods. Plus, you can impress your friends with your newfound knowledge of locally sourced produce and artisanal cheeses. Section 6. Beyond budgeting. Exploring alternative income streams. Sometimes even the most meticulous budget can't make up for the rising cost of, well, everything. That's when it's time to get creative and explore ways to bring in some extra cash. The internet is a goldmine of opportunities, from freelance writing and virtual assisting to online tutoring and selling your crafts on Etsy. Think about your skills and interests. You might be surprised at what people are willing to pay for. And hey, if all else fails, you can always try your hand at stand-up comedy. After all, if we can't laugh at the absurdity of it all, we're all doomed. Section 7. Conclusion: staying afloat in the tariff storm. So, there you have it, the lowdown on tariffs and how they're impacting your wallet. It's not pretty, but the good news is that by understanding the issue and taking proactive steps, you can weather the storm. Remember, knowledge is power, even when it comes to something as dry and confusing as international trade policy. And trust me, it's even drier than it sounds. Stay informed, stay proactive, and most importantly, don't panic. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go figure out how to build a bunker out of ramen noodles and duct tape. You know, just in case.